base and lived a boring, humdrum life as a fleet mech or a clerk, while Ted made a decent living as a Civi Solec tech. Hell, Russ wouldn't have minded being a cook. But no, that wasn't possible. Not with what they wanted him to do. He despised every second of it. He hated being shipped out on midnight air runs to territories foreign and domestic to back up other Red units, or ground grunts doing enforcing, rooting out bands of thugs, or calming fundy rebel skirmishes. And he wasn't good enough at kissing ass, or willing to engage in dirty tricks, to step on the backs of his fellow Reds to get a promotion higher than the rank of captain. And in Craig's command, you pretty much had to be like that to advance any farther up the food chain. Russ might have been the best sniper the new North America's army ever had. But each shot he took, each kill he made, it chipped away at a piece of his soul until he knew the only good thing left inside him was his love for Ted. That's where the rest of him still lay, and that's where he'd go, home to Ted in Montana. Or he'd die trying. His second night on the road, Russ made a nest for himself in some thick, tall brush a few dozen yards off the old roadbed. He ate a protein bar for dinner, instead of popping open one of the MREs he'd purchased on base before he left, or starting a fire and hunting something. He definitely didn't need a fire. The gentle, warm breeze felt pleasantly mild, and a nearly full moon gave him plenty of light to see by. Not to mention, staying dark in his position kept him safely hidden from anyone who might pass his location. Yes, he was once again a legally free citizen of the new North Americas, whatever that meant. He'd done his 5 years of mandatory conscription time, earned enough coin to help him and Ted expand their compound the way they'd always talked about, and he could theoretically live out the rest of his life in peace. If the nightmares would ever stop. Russ never slept well or deeply. Not anymore, especially when out in the open. Add to the list that he was still far closer to Houston than he'd like to be. A few hours later, he startled awake, his fingers closing around the grip of the 9mm he'd purchased for his own use as a sidearm during conscription. Listening, he waited, body tensed. He knew what had awakened him. All the normal sounds of crickets, birds, and other nocturnally active denizens had gone silent in his immediate vicinity. Usually, that meant a predator. It took a while until his ears heard what his instincts had already picked up. The footsteps of several people walking along the crumbling tarmac of the old highway. No one spoke. He didn't move, kept his breathing slow and light through barely parted lips. Still, his pulse raced. From the sound of it, many or all of the people in the group wore boots similar to what he wore on his feet, military-issue tactical hiking boots, thick and waterproofed, and designed for keeping troops vertical and mobile as long as possible. They made heavy, unmistakable footfalls to the trained ear, especially when the troops wearing them made zero effort to stay quiet. Russ didn't spot any telltale lights and suspected they were using the moon for illumination, conserving precious batteries so they didn't have to resort to loud hand-crank chargers. He didn't dare move, or lift his head over the brush to see how many there were. Craig and Hicks had both been off base when Russ left, neither due to return until the next morning. He wasn't hanging around to wait on them either. His chip code had already been changed to reflect his free man status. Sure, he could have spent one last night at the barracks. Except as a civvy, he didn't owe them shit. Still, he wouldn't put it past Colonel Craig to send someone after him just to talk, to try to coax or haul him back in by whatever means necessary, so they didn't lose the best sniper they'd had in over 20 years. Hell, the best sniper the Nanners ever had, period. Russ was no idiot. He'd heard the rumors during his conscription about how Craig had the highest overall re-opt numbers of any Red commander, Houston's specialty troop re-opt numbers higher than any barracks in general.